Kennedy wrote, "The phrase has troubled liberals who think it is a call for a return to an America before civil rights, gay rights, and women's rights. But I have a more generous interpretation, one that is truer to my experience of Donald Trump as he is today. Quote, make America great again recalls a nation brimming with vitality, with a can-do spirit, with hope and a belief in itself. It was an America that was beginning to confront its darker shadows, could acknowledge the injustice in its past and present, yet at the same time could celebrate its successes. It was a nation of broad prosperity, the world's most vibrant middle class, and an idealistic belief, though not consistently applied, in freedom, justice, and democracy. It was a nation that led the world in innovation, productivity, and technology, and it was the healthiest country in the world. I have talked to many Trump supporters. I have talked with his inner circle. I have talked to the man himself. This is the America they want to restore."
We could have used that clarification about 7 years ago. On MAGA. You know, I've always understood that that's what they mean.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, but we've allowed the media, by not explaining it to our fellow neighbors, like, hey, man, this doesn't mean let's go back to these times where nobody had any rights and it was only this way or that way. It actually means, like, let's get our team together, man. Let's stop losing. Let's go back to being the national champions. You know what I mean? That's what it's about. And everybody has a role in that, and everybody has a place in that. What is up, guys? It's Andy Frisella, and this is the show for the realists. Say goodbye to the lies, the fakeness, and delusions of modern society, and welcome to motherfucking reality. Guys, today we have Andy and DJ
Cruise the motherfucking internet.
That's what we're going to do. That's what CTI stands for. It stands for Cruise the Internet. This is where we put topics of the day up here on the screen. We speculate on what's true and what's not true, and then we talk about how we, the people, have to help solve these problems going on in the world. Now, I'm not going to do the full intro today because we are joined by a very special guest that has been on the show many times before. He's one of the big horses up in Washington, D.C., getting shit done. My good friend, Senator Eric Schmitt. What's happening, brother?
It's good to be back, brother.
Yeah, you look good, dude.
Thanks.
What have you been doing?
I've been working out a lot of protein.
Yeah.
I saw I played in that congressional baseball game last year. I saw a profile view during the national anthem, and I said, you know what? I can do a little better than that.
Yeah, you're killing it, man.
Yeah, so just working out more, honestly.
So you say you're down close 30 pounds or so?
Yeah, probably 30 pounds. And that's probably about where I'm
Yeah.
at. That's a good weight for me. But yeah, just a lot of, trying to build some muscle mass and like I said, like a lot of protein.
Yeah, very noticeable, man.
Thanks.
Very, very noticeable. So what's been going on?
Nothing, man. Just, I was at the convention. That feels like a lifetime ago, by the way, the Republican convention. It was like 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago, yeah.
Trump was shot at 5 weeks ago.
Doesn't it seem like it's like one thing and then another?
Oh,
it seems like they're playing ping pong. It's like the Trump assassination attempt, then announced Kamala, then the RNC, then the DNC.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now,
Tit for tat.
Yeah.
And that debate wasn't even 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just things are moving fast. But no, I've been home a lot more, traveling the state during August, which is the time. And then we'll go back in September for a few weeks. And then October, doing a lot of campaigning. But, spending time with my family and getting around the state. It's been good.
Man.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
How long have you been in office now?
A year and a half, right?
Yeah,
so, 18 months.
Yeah.
You enjoying it?
I do because, I go back and forth every week. So I'm back here.
Mm-hmm.
I usually get back on Thursdays or Fridays. And I don't know, man, like you're fighting for the people that you're in the state that you love.
Yeah.
So I don't get, and I kind of, that's the arena, I signed up for it. And so I'm just in the mix, you know me.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, dude, it makes us damn proud here in Missouri.
I was going to say, toot, bro. I mean,
it is.
When we talk about fighters, like people that represent the people, like you are the example. Like you're him. You know what I'm saying? You're doing a lot of great, and it's not just for Missourians.
And
man.
Bailey's following up right behind him, dude.
We got some hitters here in Missouri, bro.
He's doing a great job.
Yeah, we do. I know, and I don't know Holly, but I mean, he does a good job too, man.
Holly's awesome, man. Holly's awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting. Josh and I, we're, from Missouri. Both of us are in, the Senate, both in our 40s. That's pretty unusual.
Yeah.
And then Andrew's doing a great job.
He's killing it.
Missouri is kind of leading the way on this stuff.
Yeah.
Very kind of low key, under the radar, and some.
Well, you know how it is, bro. We don't put up any BS around here.
That's right.
It's a show me state.
Show me
yeah,
state,
that's
baby.
right. So,
well, you guys are killing it here, man. It's great to be on campus here.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's the supplements or these delicious drinks or the apparel, you guys are killing it. So
yeah, it's cool, man. You know, we're trying to keep the American dream alive for families and the community. And a lot of times people are like, well, why don't you guys move? Well, first of all, we're right here in St. Louis. I know it's hard for people to believe, but a lot of people really like St. Louis.
Yeah, right.
And we don't mind that you don't like it.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Yeah.
But it's, you know, I think for us, it's become more about really becoming a sense of pride for the community, you know, supporting the community. You know, we had that for so long when Anheuser-Busch, and then when they kind of sold out to InBev, you know, we kind of lost that for a while. And I think, you know, we're doing a pretty good job so far of really trying to fill that gap. And I feel like the people in St. Louis are really showing us a lot of love. So it's really cool, man.
It's good. It's cool to see when you go to a Cardinal game and you see the first form from the Louisville Pride. That's a cool thing to see. And I know what you mean. My dad worked for the brewery. I had an uncle that worked at the brewery. You know, I was that kid that would show up to school with like a Spuds McKenzie jacket on or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you had pride in that. So this is cool that this is here.
Yeah.
You guys are doing a great job.
It's fun, man. I appreciate that.
Yep.
That's
So
sweet, man.
what's up with you, dude?
Oh, you know, hey, it's a lot of interesting stuff happening out
Is
there
there?
today. There is some dots to be connected as always, man.
All right.
Before we get to that though, guys, make sure you guys are paying the fee.
Yeah, guys, don't forget, we don't take ads on the show. We finance the show ourselves. We talk about the things that we're not supposed to talk about. Well, the internet doesn't like us talking about them. It's the things we all should be talking about. But we need your help getting the show out. You know, we don't run ads on the show. I don't want to listen to what someone thinks that I should or shouldn't say. And so we rely on you guys to share the show. So remember to pay the fee and don't be a hoe.
Share the show.
All right.
Well, with that, man, let's go ahead and get into some of these topics. I wanted to bring this first thing up because I feel like whatever we say at this point is just true.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just happens.
Yeah.
You've been tracking on the Boeing stuff?
Oh, on the you talking about the astronauts?
Or just the company itself?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to narrow it down.
Yeah, but those astronauts that we covered who originally went to space for 8 days will now be stuck in there until 2025 in the deep end of the pool, apparently.
Shut up, dude. For real?
So
They're not getting out until 2025 now?
Boeing was supposed to be rescuing these guys, and it's not happening. So let's dive into this a little bit. Boeing employees are humiliated after NASA announced that 2 astronauts who have been stranded on the International Space Station by the company's troubled Starliner space capsule will have to be rescued by Elon Musk's upstart rival SpaceX, one worker told the Post. Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams, who went up to the ISS in June for what was supposed to be an 8-day mission, will have to wait another 6 months until a SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft can carry them safely home because their original ride is leaking helium and has problems with its thrusters. The Florida-based staffer with Boeing's space program said the decision was the latest blow to the aerospace giant, which is already suffering backlash from a slew of commercial flight incidents earlier this year. Quote, "We have had so many embarrassments lately, we're under a microscope. This just made it like 100 times worse," said one worker speaking on the condition of anonymity. Quote, "We hate SpaceX," he added. "We talk shit about them all the time, and now they're bailing us out." That sucks.
That's pretty funny, dude.
That sucks, man.
Dude, imagine being up on the space station, all right, and you're watching the news for the last year and seeing all this shit that Boeing has done and like not done, apparently.
Right.
And you're like, fuck, they're supposed to come get us. Like, that doesn't feel very reassuring.
But think about it but like even taking a step further, I'll still take Boeing over fucking SpaceX though.
Yeah, they
now
must
they're
be
coming to get you.
Motherfucker, they must be Democrats. I'll still vote for Kamala even though nobody voted for her.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not gonna rip those Boeing bumper stickers off.
Yeah.
Aaron, what you got on
man,
this?
like, well, there's a lot to unpack with that. I can't imagine, first of all, being 6'6" in a capsule anyway would freak me out.
No
anywhere.
chance. Me neither.
Let alone stranded in space. But I don't know, man. Like, so I actually serve on the Space and Science Subcommittee of the Commerce Committee. So it's really interesting. We're dealing with all
So
these
you did this, is what you're saying.
I know.
It's your fault.
No, it sounds like we need some hearings. But no, like this commercial space endeavor is like China's in this for real too. They're talking about like mining asteroids, like the stuff that like this is the next phase. And first of all, the first shots of the next war are going to be shot in space. So like we got to be better at this than everybody else. And I think having a layered system where we have innovation, where it's not just the big players, right? Like if we want to win, you're going to need all of it. And you're going to need Boeing. We want Boeing to be great because there's a lot of employees here in St. Louis. Right. They're in competition for this next generation fighter. We're fighting with the Air Force to make sure that's out there so we win. You know, we got to pivot to China. So there's a lot going on. But you had the picture of NASA up. Like literally just today, I saw there's like this DEI struggle session video that got leaked that NASA, like, you know, to apologize for being white. It's all this crazy stuff. Like, how about we work on like getting people back to the moon or Mars as opposed to like this cultural Marxism that NASA and a lot of, I mean, look, our military's done it too.
Dude, they had to shut down 17 ships. Is that true? Is that true?
Yeah.
Look, the Navy is down 30% for recruiting. And so this is, look, when you divide the room by oppressor and oppressed, some people might say, you know what, maybe I don't want to go do that. You know, so we still have a great military. We love the people that serve, but these political people at the top are pushing this ideology that's super divisive. It has no place in the military. Military is supposed to be like this great meritocracy. It also has no place in NASA, whose only mission should be getting people to and from space safely.
Yeah.
So it's nuts.
Using the best people.
Yeah.
Well, dude, that's meritocracy is what this country is truly supposed to be about, man. And if you're not good enough to do it, guess what you're supposed to do?
Get better.
That's right. Get better. And, you know, people have abandoned this mentality. And it's really frustrating because, like, in theory, a lot of these people believe this stuff. They think, oh, we should have this many of these people and this many of these people and this many of these people. But at the end of the day, it doesn't work in reality. What works in reality is competition, meritocracy, who's the best. If you're not the best, how can I learn to be the best? And this is very important because it's not just about like airplanes being safe. It's about the pride that an individual has and their ability to accomplish and develop and become better. You know, a lot of people feel very empty inside because they're never given the opportunity to truly compete because they're awarded things based upon where they come from or what gender they are. And dude, that really takes a lot of people's individual pride away from them. Yeah. It's really sad because, you know, when I look back at my life or when you look at your life, you know, the things, and all of you guys, the things we're most proud of are the things that were difficult that we overcame.
Accomplish.
Right. And if we take that away from people because we want to have a certain representation, we're cheating people out of the ability to develop and become fulfilled as individuals, which takes away the national pride that we should have as a country on an individual level.
Right.
You can't be proud of yourself, can't be proud of your country.
Well,
right?
It's also the real problem with identity politics is it boils everything down to one thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like each one of us are like layered. There's a bunch of different layers. So it's like, you know, yeah, I'm a Republican. Yeah, I'm white. Yeah, I'm Catholic. I like pork steaks. I like beer. I like, you know, I like working out. I like watching the Cardinals. There's a lot of things that define
all the things I like.
Right, right.
Don't sound too bad.
There's a lot of things that define you, and this kind of race essentialism, this obsession with it, is what's driving people apart. Most people live their lives; they want to get along with other people. They don't give a shit at all about the race of somebody else, or if they're a Protestant or they're Jewish. Nobody gives a shit about that stuff. They actually just want to accomplish things, and people seek commonality naturally, you know. But I think you see these forces that don't really want people to come together.
I think people are getting smart though. I think people are seeing it and they're I think we're going to see the pendulum swing back so much that people totally ignore this identity shit and start to come together. I'm seeing it.
Yeah, it just sucks that it only took airplanes falling out the fucking sky to get there.
Look, man, you know, listen. Well, look, bro, we got to be real about this. You know, we as human beings in the history of humanity have never faced a weapon as powerful as the internet and social media in terms to create propaganda. So this has been a giant experiment the last 10 years, 12, 15 years, which really hasn't gone well. I would argue that as much benefit as the internet brings, it's brought more division than that and more isolation and less fulfillment. People are not as happy because they're not going outside. They're not doing the things like you and I did growing up, like cooking some pork steaks on the grill, listening to Jack Buck call a Cardinals game.
Yeah, playing wiffle ball.
Yeah. Dude, we need more of that. And you get anybody in those situations, it doesn't matter if they're black, white, gay, straight, doesn't matter where they come from, bro, you're getting along. It's fun.
Think about it. What you build friendships and connection with people you share a common experience with. That's why sports was always such a big part for me, because I didn't care, man. You were on my team.
Yep.
And I want to go win the game. I don't care who's on, you're on my team, and let's go win, and you compete together. And I think whatever it is, that's how people build relationships. So if you're segregating people, think about that. Getting back, segregating
Moderate
people.
segregation.
Yeah, then you're not going to actually have those common experiences. And that's what's flawed about the whole thing.
Dude, it's almost interesting too. Did I send you that? I think I sent it to you, that RFK tweet where he talked about what MAGA really meant.
Oh, yeah.
I got it.
That was good.
Okay. I mean, dude, I've talked about that for many, many years. And what we're really talking about here is we're not talking about going back to 1847. We're talking about becoming dominant. We're talking about working as a team. We're talking about development of individuals. We're talking about working together as Americans. We're not talking, that's not, when the media has completely weaponized that term to make it seem like, oh yeah, all of us white dudes want to go back to slavery. Bro, it's insane. And we have to get past. I think people are getting past it. I really
think people
feel
are seeing through the stuff
for
now.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's because it's unnatural, man. And that's the thing. It's any major changes that have ever happened in any civilization always came from the people. And this, the DEI stuff, this that didn't come from us. That didn't come from the people, right? And so it's a very unnatural thing, which is why I think people are realizing now. It's dude, I didn't ask for this shit. Did you ask for this?
No.
Nobody asked. Who asked? And that's where the understanding that this is an intentional play that has been put on society to get us divided and segregated, and it's not natural.
It's falling apart though.
It's not natural.
Just we said it would.
Yeah, just like those Boeing doors.
Yeah.
Well, guys, jumping on this conversation, let us know what you guys think down in the comments. With that being said, man, let's get into our headlines. Headline number one. So we got to talk about it. We got a little anniversary today. Not one of, it's not a birthday or anything like that. And it's, one of the darkest parts of, I guess, our history as a country, man. But let's talk about it. Headline reads, 3 years ago, a terrorist attack killed 13 U.S. troops. Newly released emails show Biden admin was aware of the chaos that led to it. So yeah, not a very happy subject to start with. It's interesting because one of those service members were actually from St. Louis,
Jared Schmitt,
and we met the parents.
Great family,
amazing family. You know, and this I think was a really big lead up to, I guess, the fall of America on the national global stage, if you will, Let's get into it, man. So you got newly released emails show top Biden administration officials discussing the chaos of the Afghanistan withdrawal in the days leading up to the deadly terrorist attack that killed 13 American soldiers 3 years ago today. The messages obtained by watchdog organization, the Functional Government Initiative, and shared with Just the News show that former Pentagon spokesman John Kirby was fully aware of the chaos on the ground in Afghanistan, despite later saying he didn't see how the withdrawal could have been done better. On August 16th, 2021, 10 days before the attack, Kirby sent out a State Department report detailing breaches and flight line insecurity at the Hamid Karzai International Airport, or HKIA, in Kabul. The report made clear that U.S. forces were quickly being overrun there. Quote, DOD continuing to surge to theater, but at the moment, further breaches cannot be fully prevented at current force levels, the report said, noting that, quote, the Taliban have been increasingly positioning near HKIA access points. The report also noted crowds of people swarming American airplanes prior to takeoff, with some even trying to grab onto the aircraft as they accelerated down the runway for departure. Those are videos and images that were,
I'll never forget that.
Yeah,
it's impossible to get that image out of people's heads. Quote, hundreds have flooded the flight line, and in at least one case, have forced themselves onto at least one U.S. military and other civilian aircraft. Crowds continue to run alongside planes, including military aircraft, the report said. Also on August 16th, Kirby was asked by speechwriter Warren Bass about an appearance from Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. Quote, unless you're itching to get him to the podium, this could well be the first time the SD has been out in public since the collapse in Afghanistan, Bass wrote. Quote, at a minimum, he'd need to start with a serious topper on the Afghan chaos. Quote, Warren, warm words are good. We'll want to do a spray given the circumstances, Kirby replied. So you have all of that happening. And obviously,
what's a spray?
I believe that's like a clean out of like the narrative, basically.
Oh, okay.
Kind of whitewashing it out a little bit, making it palatable. Or in lawyers' words, deny. Everything's fine. And obviously, again, 10 days after all of these emails are going back and forth, that's when an ISIS suicide bomber attacked the Abbey Gate entrance of the airport, killing 13 American soldiers and around 170 Afghan civilians. Now, with that going on, again, we know what the response was from our country, from our administration on this matter, and how those service members' families were treated by this current administration. And so
he didn't meet with them. Biden wouldn't meet with them.
Didn't meet with them at all.
No, and then when they were there, he's checking his watch like he had somewhere else to go.
I mean, it's so insulting. And in fact, the Schmitt's family, they've come out to D.C. even and do the. This is how great people they are. They come with the honor flight folks. Mm-hmm. So like they are helping veterans of other wars and escorting them around and kind of giving back. And they lost their son to this just perhaps one of the most embarrassing moments in our nation's history. And and Biden's checking his watch.
Mm-hmm. Well, so then it should be no surprise that on the 3-year anniversary of this terrible thing that somebody shows up to lay a wreath at Arlington Cemetery and someone does not. Let's take a guess at who made their appearance and who did not make an appearance. Headline reads, Trump honors 13 fallen heroes from Afghanistan withdrawal at Arlington. So Trump showed up, laid a wreath. Here's a quick video.
Ready? Step. Oh!
So you have that, and meanwhile,
let me say this real quick.
Yeah,
we haven't had anything that presidential in years.
Yeah,
like that almost made me emotional watching it, just because we've had such a lack of leadership and such really just spit in the eye from our leadership towards this country. And
let me tell you something, man. Like that
pisses me off.
I've gotten to know him. Obviously, President Trump. Say whatever you want. That man loves America.
Yeah,
he loves America. And you hear half this nonsense from Biden and Harris now. This is they're pushing an ideology that is antithetical to what it means to be an American. It really, that's the starkest contrast. So all this bullshit after that.
They hate America, dude.
They don't believe. You ever talk about equity versus equality? She's talking about, this is Marxist stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's who they are. Mm-hmm. Like they don't really apologize for it anymore. So yeah, to see a president lay a wreath down like that. And by the way, I don't know if you have it. There's another headline today, which is from the AP, of course, which is now woke, that says Trump tries to tie Harris to Afghan withdrawal. She was bragging about how she was the last person in the room with Biden. She wanted to be known as somebody who was a close confidant of Biden. Now the media is willingly allowing her to try to distance herself from all the bullshit they brought on the country. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy that anybody would buy it. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? A month and a half ago, you guys were laughing at her. The people that are now saying, "Oh, Kamala, she's a hero." You guys were laughing at her. You had your face in your hands saying, "Holy shit, this is the worst. This is a disaster." And now you're all trying to pretend to cheer for her like she's some kind of savior, when let's be real, dude, she is a world-class piece of shit. That is it. We have Biden too. When was the last time we've seen any of the leadership, whether it be the president, vice president, press secretary, any of the people show any respect for this country at all? We haven't seen it in years. And like, dude, I love this country too, as you know.
Yep.
And watching that, having my dad's dad, who he never even met, who was killed after he fucking stormed at Normandy, and he was killed 6 months later, never even met my dad, to just see this simple sign of respect. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, It feels like America's supposed to feel, even in the wake of this being a total tragedy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I haven't felt that in a long time.
Listen, we're naive. These dictators around the world, they smell weakness.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why Russia didn't go into Ukraine when Trump was president. There's a reason why North Korea was backing off. There's a reason why China wasn't saber rattling with Taiwan. There's a reason why, Hamas didn't, brutally attack Israel like on October 7th, because they knew Trump meant business, and they do not.
Nobody wanted to fuck around.
They don't respect this administration,
Yeah.
and that Afghanistan withdrawal was the poster, man. It was the red light that went up.
Said, hey, okay, you could do some shit.
Yeah, and we don't, this administration doesn't have their shit together.
Bro, it's such a frustrating thing, because it doesn't matter what side of you believe, right? Like, if you believe Russia or Ukraine or Palestine or Israel or anything, right? Nobody wanted the smoke. Nobody wanted it, dude, because they realized it's like your dad coming home from work.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to tell dad when you get home from work.
Oh, shit.
Everybody's kept in line. You know what I'm saying? And dude, the world needs that. That's why they hate this man.
What's the story with
Soleimani?
It was Soleimani where he sent them a picture of their fucking house?
Oh, yeah. No, he says, we know where you live.
Yeah.
And if you, basically
you
fuck around, you're going to find out.
Yeah.
And he here's where you're at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah. And then he got up and walked out the room. Yeah. He just got up and left. What would you do? You would go home and you would say, all right, hey, let's leave these dudes alone.
Let's just wait until.
Yeah. You would go home and tell your team. You'd be like this. Yeah, we had a good talk, man. Everything's good. Don't worry about that anymore.
Yeah, he's totally phoned it. He said,
we're all good.
But I mean, listen, and here's the thing. There's definitely some transitions going. I think the more people are realizing that, it's not even just Kamala and Biden. Like, it is the Democrat Party are complete liars, and they have lied about everything. And now you start seeing this massive exodus from the Democrat Party, or even people that, maybe not call themselves Democrat, but definitely are more liberal than most conservatives. You're starting to see this, a bunch of people jump ship. RFK to be one.
Yeah.
This just happened over the weekend. RFK Jr., Trump to announce other Democrats joining his campaign as well. So during this week's broadcast of FNC's or Fox News Sunday, now former independent president candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said he anticipated more Democrats coming along to support Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump. Kennedy, who endorsed Trump last week, suggested the support was partly based on the former president's desire to make America healthy again. Quote, Wall Street Journal has this, host Shannon Bream said, quote, they say it's a double-edged sword, essentially, that it may help President Trump to pick up some of your followers if they're willing to go over there, but they warn about what you would do in his administration. They say this RFK Jr., if he's anywhere near the healthcare or environmental agencies in the Trump administration, look out. Mr. Trump's best response is to thank RFK Jr. for his support, make no promises about the future, and by all means avoid joint campaign appearances. You've already had one. Will you have others? Will you campaign for President Trump? To which Kennedy replied, yeah, I'm going to be campaigning actively. I think President Trump is going to make a series of announcements about other Democrats who are joining his campaign. And, I want to make America healthy again. And so does President Trump. So those are objectives. And he did make a really, really awesome statement on the MAGA topic, which you alluded to earlier, Andy, which I thought, obviously I felt like you had a great point, but that was a very, very well-worded representation. It kind of summed it all up, everything that you have been talking about. Here's his full statement. Kennedy wrote, "The phrase has troubled liberals who think it is a call for a return to an America before civil rights, gay rights, and women's rights. But I have a more generous interpretation, one that is truer to my experience of Donald Trump as he is today. Quote, make America great again recalls a nation brimming with vitality, with a can-do spirit, with hope and a belief in itself. It was an America that was beginning to confront its darker shadows, could acknowledge the injustice in its past and present, yet at the same time could celebrate its successes. It was a nation of broad prosperity, the world's most vibrant middle class, and an idealistic belief, though not consistently applied, in freedom, justice, and democracy. It was a nation that led the world in innovation, productivity, and technology, and it was the healthiest country in the world. I have talked to many Trump supporters. I have talked with his inner circle. I have talked to the man himself. This is the America they want to restore." Guys, what else we got on this topic?
We could have used that clarification about 7 years ago on MAGA. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, I've always understood that that's what they mean.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we've allowed the media, by not explaining it to our fellow neighbors, like, hey, man, this doesn't mean let's go back to these times where nobody had any rights and it was only this way or that way. But it actually means, like, let's get our team together, man. Let's stop losing. Let's go back to being the national champions. You know what I mean? That's what it's about. And everybody has a role in that, and everybody has a place in that. And I think it was just a very, very well thought out, well worded description that
for sure.
is long overdue.
Well, and let's think about, like, actually what happened when he shocked the world, right, and won in 2016. What happened after that? We had a secure border, right? When he left office, we had a 45-year low in illegal immigration, right? More people were making more money, and it didn't matter your race, it didn't matter your class, whatever. Everybody was making more money, we were more prosperous. We didn't have all these wars popping up around the world. We were energy dominant, we were exporting. Like, those are, again, they want to make it about joy and all this nonsense that's like, it's just fake emotion. In people's lives, that's what they were experiencing. That's what it means to make America great again, right? Like,
yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, you can achieve in this country. And what they want to do now is act like Kamala Harris had nothing to do with any of this stuff. She was the most liberal senator in the whole Senate, more liberal than Bernie Sanders. Mm-hmm. She picked a guy who was like the lockdown king in Minnesota that literally was prosecuting people for stepping outside their homes.
He was shooting them with paintballs.
I mean, this is like, this is a radical group. And it is amazing what the media is willing to do with their Trump derangement syndrome, what they're willing to do to cover for her. She has not had an interview in over a month. And that's when she gets exposed. If she's in an interview, right, and you start asking her questions about her positions, she looks ridiculous because she can't explain them. They're radical to begin with. And you've got the media sort of covering for her. And I guess they think they can pull this off for 70 days. My hope and my belief is the American people are going to see through all this, right? But she went from the least popular. She was less popular than Joe Biden. You look at some of her numbers now based on some of this polling, which is BS, by the way, because they're oversampling Democrats now. But her favorables have gone up. And the Harris team sees this now, so they're going to try to hide her in the basement like they did Joe Biden in 2020. So the real threat to democracy, of course, is the party that's tried to jail their political opponent, keep guys like Robert F. Kennedy off the ballot on Democrat side, keep Trump off the ballot on the Republican side, throw a guy in prison for the rest of his life, censor Americans, and now act like you shouldn't believe your lying eyes on who this person is.
Well, dude, isn't that what George Orwell wrote about in 1984?
Yes.
This is exactly like, dude, he's rolling over in his grave being like, I fucking told you guys.
Like, this was supposed to be fiction.
Yeah. Dude, what's interesting is these people that say, oh, Trump's a threat to democracy. I'm voting for Kamala when Kamala didn't have a single person vote for her.
Not one.
To be you can't come at me with this nonsense that Trump is a threat to democracy when not a single person voted for Kamala Harris to be the presidential candidate.
Yeah. Doesn't sound very democratic to me.
Bro, It's insane.
It's not only that, it's unprecedented.
Yeah.
Like they've memory hold, the fact of trumping, the attempted assassination that day and the fist pump, which everybody at that point was like, this is over.
Yeah.
He's going to win.
Yeah.
And memory hold that and substitute it now for this thing about Kamala as being some phenomenon. Like, she's a known quantity and it's not good.
Yeah, that's right.
What I mean? But they can't do it. Like, they're just going to try to hide this thing. But the good news is information's way more diffused because of podcasts like this and a lot of other things. People get their information other than CBS, NBC.
Yeah, those guys are dead, bro. Yeah. You know what I think, though, too, is RFK, like, they're trying to keep this guy as, like, I think RFK is in serious, like, jeopardy, to be completely honest, because maybe even more than Trump, because we all know how powerful the pharma industry is. And the pharma industry funds the FDA at nearly 50% of their funding. Okay. This guy's trying to get in there and stop that shit. And he's trying to actually make our country use real food, do all the shit that they've been manufacturing that hurts us as a country. He's trying to fix all of that. And that's where the most money is made. And so I'm really concerned about his safety. Them saying, oh, well, Trump should run away if he wants to make, what did he say, the Health and Human Services. Mm-hmm. No, that he's the perfect guy for that. If you want to actually build this country the way that it's supposed to be, healthy, not overly medicated. The amount of medications that are prescribed today are insane, and nobody wants to talk about it because everybody's making so much money. So this guy's stepping in the way of a lot of people's income, and a lot of the people that he's stepping in the way of have a lot of money and a lot of resources. So,
and he doesn't even need to have, like, what's the impact of all this, like, politically? Like, it doesn't need to be huge, but, like, there's some polling already that shows, like, basically the RFK Jr. supporters are breaking now because of his endorsement, like 2-1 in swing states. So let's just say he was going to get 3 to 5% somewhere. Like in Pennsylvania, man, that thing is like a point. Yeah. Right. So it can actually make the difference. And I don't agree with him on a lot of stuff. I agree with him on some stuff. But I do think what he represents are people who are like distrustful, and they should be, of a lot of things. And he was giving voice to a lot of those things. And I think the election breaks down in some ways more than Republican versus Democrat. It's like the dissidents versus the establishment, right? And he fits into that category of speaking truth on some things, right? Yeah. And I think that in this kind of realignment that's happened, you've got now a multi-ethnic working class base of the Republican Party, which I feel very at home with. That's, as you know, you and I, that's how I grew up.
Yeah.
And so when I was at the convention, I was like, man, normal people, Hulk Hogan and Kid Rock, this is my kind of convention. Like, it's very different. You wouldn't have seen that years ago. So I think it's a good thing that he's come on board. I think it's a good thing. We talk about unity all the time. Tulsi Gabbard, like, I don't agree with her on everything, but like the fact that Trump's reaching out, I think that's a good thing.
I think the difference between people like RFK and Tulsi, which I love Tulsi, but yeah, obviously we're going to have disagreements about how we could see. That's American, dude.
Right.
That's like, hey man, I think we should do it like this. Well, I think we should do it like this. And I think the difference between these kind of Democrats and then the Marxist Democrats is that their intent is genuine.
Yeah.
They might not see it the same way that I see it or you see it, but
they don't want to shut down the other side.
No, their intent is, I want the best outcome for the country.
Yeah. So do I.
Yes, so exactly, dude. And that's what the whole entire political system has lost. And I think, to your point about the them pumping up Kamala, I actually, because like, dude, we see this in the interviews and things that we're tracking for the show, but I think people have realized how much worse their financial situation is. And when they go up there with Oprah and, what's that girl's name? The rapper, Megan Thee Stallion, and all these things. And they go up there and they give these speeches that are like touchy-feely and feel good. Because let's be real, some of these people are excellent speakers. And they're up there making these promises, and it sounds really good, and it sounds very American. But they've witnessed this not go this way over and over and over again. I actually think that by them doing this overly pump up of Kamala, it's actually exposing them for exactly who they are. It's blowing up in their face.
It's fake, and I think if there's one word to describe her, it's fake or phony, whatever. Yeah. That's who she is. And I think that's right. I think they're going to get exposed on this because there's no depth there. Like there's nothing. And I think we've talked about this before. COVID, like that COVID times really revealed like who these people are. And it isn't about anything other than power and control. And so their willingness to like sub out a candidate without any votes, that's just about power and control, because they want the permanent Washington, the permanent establishment, these agencies to run your life. And now you get to a figurehead kind of president. So it doesn't even really matter anymore. And if you actually care about democracy, you should be really worried about that, right? But the media isn't, because, you know, it's about Trump. And that convention they had, they mentioned Trump's name, I don't know, whatever, several hundred times.
It was their only talking point.
And acting like she's not the incumbent. Like this administration has destroyed livelihoods because of their ideology. Like, and people are making less money, and, you know, they're not as safe, and all those things that are the reality. They just want to try to have a sideshow here a little bit and distract people.
And when they go up there and they say joy and unity and all of these things, and all of these people have seen these people are not stupid. Yeah. They think that we're all stupid.
Ain't no joy in my wallet.
Bro, they think their own voter base is stupid.
Oh, they do.
And their own voter base is starting to get insulted about the amount of, you know, fake shit.
Blatant lies.
Yeah, because when I watched the DNC, I was definitely like, damn, dude, I hope people don't buy this. But then I watched people's reaction who are Democrats, and they're like, yeah, well, those great speeches aren't going to help my pocketbook.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, now we're starting to understand here.
Yeah, we're on it, man. Guys, jump in on this conversation. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments. With that being said, let's go cruise some. I got a couple here for us.
I love how your like job is to like make sure this thing doesn't get off the rails.
I do my best.
Somebody's got to do it. Yeah, somebody's got to do it.
Let's check.
It's certainly not me.
I got a couple comments here. Let's check these out. This first one comes from at Brian Foster 7942. DJ's laugh is my ringtone.
Nice.
That's weird.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Huh? You said laugh real quick.
Did you write this comment yourself?
That's a pseudonym.
That's right.
Brian Foster.
Yeah.
Is
Brian.
DJ.
DJ's like, let me come up with the widest name possible. Brian Foster.
All right. Yeah, that's cool. This next one comes from at Ocean Hustler. JFK joining Trump's campaign. I wonder where I heard that first. Andy doesn't miss.
That's right. Tell everybody.
Dude, I forget all the shit that's actually been put out. That's come true.
Bro, listen, man. I don't get the respect I deserve. I'm just being real. And I'm not humble about it at all. You fuckers don't give me the respect I deserve. I've been telling you this shit for years. There's not a single person who's been telling you more of this shit accurately than me.
Nostradamus.
That's right. Andy Damas.
Andy Damas.
That's what we call him.
Yeah. Randy Consuela. One more here. This is from at TY Youngblood. B5W. Andy, I am a longtime follower. What do you think about implementing your body fat percentage should be your tax rate? Much love. Keep helping so many people realign their moral compasses. I'm fucked. I'll say that.
I bet you get your ass in shape in about a month, bro.
I feel better about it this year than last year.
Yeah. Hey,
I'll say
if I did that, let's say we did that. How long would it take you to get in shape?
It'd be quick.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, I'll still be paying less than what the fuck they're charging now. But,
yeah, no shit.
But I'm still fucked.
Yeah, everybody wins no matter what.
Yeah. Hey, dude, they do creative things like that in other countries. You know, the more kids you have, the less tax you pay. How about the healthier you are, the less tax you pay? It makes sense because you're not taking the same tax money out because you're healthy. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not against.
That's not a bad policy.
Hey, listen, I am open-minded.
Yeah.
Except on one point. We got to put the pedophiles in the wood chippers.
Got to.
Yeah. Got to do that.
Mandatory.
That's one thing about Trump.
By the way, that would be good for First Form's business model.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
All of a sudden start lobbying up in D.C. about this.
Yeah. Everybody get in shape real quick.
Yeah, guys, man, we appreciate you. Appreciate you guys for being real ass fans. Keep liking, keep commenting. Make sure you guys hit that bell notification on the YouTube to stay up to date with the latest episodes from LAF. With that being said, let's get to our second headline. Let's talk about some freedom of speech here. This is a very interesting, bizarre story that's coming out right now. Let's dive into it. Headline number 2 reads, Justice, Europe style. Telegram CEO Pavel Durov arrested due to lack of moderation on platform. This is insane. Telegram founder and CEO Pavel Durov was arrested in France on Saturday after his private jet landed at Le Bourget Airport, French media reported. Durov was arrested under a warrant related to, quote, various violations of his encrypted messaging service, according to a report by Le Monde. The 39-year-old, who became a French citizen in 2021, is expected to be brought into court on Sunday. French authorities are accusing Durov of a, quote, lack of moderation involving Telegram. The messaging app is reportedly under attack in Europe for the viral circulation of false information. Quote, Telegram has shielded itself from state moderation rules at a time when the European Union and the United States are putting pressure on major platforms to remove illegal content, Le Monde reported. France's OFMIN, or Office to Combat Violence Against Minors, interestingly enough, issued a warrant as part of an investigation into, quote, offenses ranging from fraud, drug trafficking, cyberbullying, organized crime, glorification of terrorism, and fraud, the source told the French newspaper. Quote, enough with Telegram's impunity, a French investigator said. Durov, who doesn't often sit down for interviews, spoke with Tucker Carlson in April, telling the former Fox News host that the Russian government was the first entity to demand that he censor speech. He is a Russian. He's a native Russian. To censor his speech via his own platform, VK, in an effort to quell protest in the country. Quote, we were requested to ban these protest organizing communities, and I refused, Durov explained. But that did not go too well with the government. Now, Tucker Carlson did comment on all of this 2 days ago, saying, quote, Pavel Durov left Russia when the government tried to control the social media company Telegram. But in the end, it wasn't Putin who arrested him for allowing the public to exercise free speech. It was a Western country, a Biden administration ally and enthusiastic NATO member that locked him away. Pavel Durov sits in a French jail tonight, a living warning to any platform owner who refuses to censor the truth at the behest of governments and intel agencies. Darkness is descending fast on the formerly free world. And then he linked his video to that interview. Now, it's interesting. I didn't know much about this guy. I am familiar with the app. It's a fairly large app. A lot of people use this. They have over 900 million active users on this platform. Now, you look into mainstream media for more information on this guy, and of course, it's the typical thing: try to dog him. Apparently, he has like over 100 biological children or some shit. Which, all right, I mean,
how do you even do that?
It's impressive.
Yeah,
it is definitely impressive.
Guy's been working. He's got that low body fat, bro. He wants to pay low taxes.
But there was an interesting person that chimed in on this conversation. Do you guys remember Vindman, Lieutenant Colonel Vindman? Vindman, he gave a very interesting warning to Musk. Says that Musk should be nervous after Telegram CEO was arrested. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, who made waves as a key witness in the impeachment trial against former President Trump. This is the guy that lied and helped with the Steele dossier.
Oh, yeah. No.
Just for reference.
Yeah.
Issued a warning to Elon Musk on Sunday after Telegram messaging app CEO Pavel Durov was arrested in France. Here was his comment, his tweet. He says, while Durov holds French citizenship, is arrested for violating French law that has broader implications for other social media, including Twitter, there's a growing intolerance for platforming disinfo and malign influence and a growing appetite for accountability. Musk should be nervous.
I think you should be nervous.
That's what
I think you should be nervous, fuckface. Okay? We've been dealing with your bullshit for years and years and years and years and years. And if you think there's not a bunch of citizens making lists of people that should be nervous and that you're not on it, you should probably fucking
be nervous about that.
Yeah. I'm sick of these people, bro.
Man, this is what's scary about all this is this is actually what they want. Like, they want people arrested.
Yeah.
For free speech. And well, the Missouri versus Biden thing, that was kind of lawsuit I filed when I was AG, and Bailey did a great job, is exposed it here. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, there's nothing, like, think about it. They were willing to throw the other party's candidate in jail. They are willing to silence millions of Americans because they want absolute control, right? And if you eliminate dissent, which is what this is,
Yeah.
right? If you eliminate dissent, it makes it a lot easier to go do that.
That's right.
So I do think that you're going to see more of these efforts, particularly in Europe. But thankfully, in this country, we have something called the Constitution, right, which is supposed to prohibit this. But we better stay on guard. I mean, I just actually sent a letter out to Google and Facebook Friday asking what is your criteria now? What are you doing? Because we're approaching election season, right? And so they can say all the right things as long as they want to really get to the critical time when a lot of people are making their own decisions. And so the American people deserve to know this. But this is scary stuff. I posted about it too on my socials. It's people should be aware of this because this is where it's all headed if you don't have enough people stand up and say no way.
Yeah, dude, I think this is 100% him trying to intimidate people like Zuckerberg, Musk, and all the other platform owners into continuing to play along with the government.
Yep.
You know, and if you watch Zuckerberg's interview, and I know a lot of people don't like Zuckerberg, I don't like a lot of the shit that he's done, but he seems to be moving in a better direction, at least a little bit. He's still got a lot of problems with censorship on his platform. But if you listen to his Rogan interview that he did, he made it very clear that, like, hey, this wasn't us. This was them telling us to do it, and we had to do it. And I will bet you that once this has all come full circle and all the truth has really risen to the surface, we're going to find out that he's been threatened with arrest himself. That's what I think we're going to find out.
Well, you had literally Elvis Chan, which is a hard name to ever forget, who was an FBI guy in Northern California, go to these social media companies and say, get ready for a Russian hack and leak operation. And he talked about it being Hunter Biden laptop. So they had the laptop. They knew it was real. They acted like it was fake ahead of time.
Yeah.
Ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then once the story broke.
Oh, you're saying they told fucking Facebook it was fake.
They pre-bunked it. Yeah,
Got
absolutely.
it.
So it's interesting. So we were going to take the depot of Chan. I'm convinced that one of the reasons why Zuckerberg came out and said that is because it was going to come out that there are these meetings that were being held between the FBI and social media companies. This is, by the way, this is not some vast right-wing conspiracy.
No, this
actually happened.
You were on this.
Yes, and if it wasn't for that case, and if it wasn't for Twitter files, you wouldn't know it had ever happened. That's what's scary about it. So, like, that's why I think pushing back against all this stuff actually matters, because Zuckerberg starts to hear from the other side, right? Like, all this stuff gets exposed. The best thing you can do is shine a light on this stuff, because these guys operate the best in the shadows and through intimidation.
because they know it's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't want people to know that they're trying to influence this stuff.
Right.
But now in Europe, I guess you got people actually being arrested. And I do think that if the Democrat, I mean, that's, again, man, this election is so important. I don't make it all about the election, but like, because the ideas matter a lot, but they can't get away with this stuff.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, there has to be a consequence to it all. And if they can just actually keep going about doing what they've been doing, that's a bad sign for the country.
For sure.
It really is. So,
For sure.
I'll say this just even on the matter of just free speech, because like I said, I'm familiar with Telegram. We did some work back in 2020 during the George Floyd protests, and was able to do some work, and Telegram was heavily involved on that, right? And I think it's very, very important, especially for, you know, the red, white, and blue conservatives. When we talk about free speech, we have to really understand what that means, right? Like, it's not just I can say whatever I want.
It's that you have to listen to ideas that you don't necessarily agree with.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And that's what's so important. And so, like, while, you know, I may not agree or like that, you know, people can go on these apps and say these crazy things and have these ideas and collude and conspire.
Yeah, like little kids should transition their gender.
Right.
I don't like that.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But, and you know, like in these groups, like they were using Telegram as one of the main sources to communicate and put together these large protests that affected us here in St. Louis. I'm sure other places around the country, you know, but it's like ultimately though, like it's still free speech and it has to be protected. And so like, while I may not agree with what you're saying, you have the right to say it. You know, and should there be consequences for it? Of course, but guess what? That stuff's already in place. I can't go into a movie theater and yell fire, right? Like I can't incite certain things. Like those things are in place, but the basis of it if we're going to say that we want free speech, we have to respect it for everybody.
I agree. And look, the idea behind that is that in that marketplace of ideas, the best ideas win out. So you combat speech you don't like with more speech, right? And ultimately you try to win the argument. You can only do that if you have a platform by which you can do that, which is fair. Why they got Section 230 protections, because they weren't acting as a publisher, picking and choosing. They were supposed to be an open platform, like the old school town square,
right?
Where Lincoln and Douglas are on the same stage, on the same platform, talking and trying to convince. That is the whole basis of it all. So the minute they start kind of picking and choosing, you don't get to be a platform anymore. That's the heart of the private side of the debate. But the government has no business telling you what you can hear, what you can say, or what you can think. That's crazy. So yeah, ultimately you protect people's right to say things you find really objectionable, terrible, abhorrent. Like, you protect that because it might be them this time, but it's you the next time, right? And that's the scary thing about tyranny. Like, it just starts steamrolling, man. And if you're in the way, you might have been cheering them on in the 5-yard line, but now they're on the 20 and you're next.
Yep.
So,
dude, and it's interesting because these people will call anything they disagree with now hate speech
or disinformation.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And they'll try to get it like categorized as some sort of violation of law. Like, bro, just because you don't like what I'm saying doesn't mean it's hate speech.
I'm not a criminal.
Yeah, and
I'll give you some hate speech if you want it.
Yeah, no shit. Well, and dude, I want to be honest. Like, this guy here, like, coming out and like sort of threatening like that. Like, I think they're forgetting where they are, who they are, and I also think they're forgetting that they have names and addresses. And if you guys continue to push on people the way that you push on people, there's going to be people out there that fucking understand that. Like, I can't believe this guy would stand up in a public forum and even say that.
After literally being one of the key players in the downfall of this country in the last 5 or 8 years.
It's insane, dude.
well, think about that for a minute. Like,
And the tide has switched. Like,
yeah, they had, and Obama approved it. They spied on a presidential candidate, right?
bro,
Because
they made
of a
up.
fake dossier about. And like, we memory hole all this stuff. If this was a Republican, like Richard Nixon went down for much less than that. But like, it's totally cool because we don't like Trump, or, it's a Democrat. Like, it's insane.
Dude, think of the damage that's been done to the country because of that narrative. It went on for 8 years.
Yeah.
It made the country completely divided over a fake dossier that Hillary Clinton had manufactured.
She got a slap on the wrist.
Dude, it's insane.
Well, think about it. If you read, or if there would have been a report of some Central American country where the opposing party leader was spied upon and they tried to discredit him and they tried to impeach him and then they tried to throw him in jail and then they tried to bankrupt him. And then, like, you would be like, our State Department would be warning us about that place. Like, be careful, don't go there because they don't really have a system that you can trust. Right. And so this is what they've done. They've done all of this. And I think that's why we've kind of crossed the Rubicon, guys. I think we're no longer just debating and why this stuff's so important for people to get involved. We're no longer like Tip O'Neill, Ronald Reagan arguing about like marginal tax rates, which are important debates to have. This is different. This is about total control. It is about, I will tell you, like, if we talked about my first 18 months, one of the things that's most, and I stood up and objected. Chuck Schumer tried to have some bogus rules on this impeachment thing from Yorkist, and I was the senator that stood up and said, I object, which means he couldn't do this sham thing, which was 22 times in our nation's history, if an impeachment came over to the Senate, there was a trial every single time, except this time because Schumer didn't want the news cycle. So all the Democrats voted to just dismiss the case. And regardless of what you think about it, he was supposed to either be voted on for removal or, acquittal. That didn't happen. So don't think for a second, if they ever get 51 votes in the Senate and they got the House and Kamala Harris gets elected, they will end the filibuster. And they will pack the court. They will add DC to the union. They get 2 extra senators for that. This is about permanent power.
That's right.
It's about permanent power, and they are ruthless. Look, that's
what the immigration's about.
It's about immigration.
Yes.
They turn 10 million people into voters. They're already working on that.
Yeah.
Right? And they just literally did a coup on the sitting president of the United States to put in somebody who is wildly unpopular, but they can fluffer up here who didn't get a single vote. And by the way, never made it to Iowa when she ran.
Yeah.
Like, say what you want about Bernie Sanders or Trump or Obama. They had a grassroots kind of following.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are inspired. I may not agree, but they're inspired. Nobody was inspired by Kamala Harris. Like, she didn't get to Iowa.
No.
So, like, this thing is all, it's like a, I don't know, it's like a matrix development, and they have to lose. Like, they can't win doing this. So
Look, man, I think they're going to do anything that they possibly can, legal, illegal, doesn't matter, to keep Trump from coming back. And I think
they're terrified of it.
Yeah, and dude, that includes black swan events. That includes, war. Like, they've tried it all. They're trying it all. And
so a lot of the stuff you guys talk about, which is what I think would be fascinating, which is why I'm obviously doing everything I can. For Trump won't have a second, like, this would be the second term, right? There's no reelection. Knowing what he knows now, I think he comes in and is the ultimate disruptor. And that is exactly what we need right now.
Mm-hmm.
We need a real reset, because a lot of times, quite frankly, Republican or Democrat, they come in this continuation of the administrative state, like, it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think he's uniquely situated, certainly be my pitch, I think he's willing to do it, to come in and totally change the game, right? And that's a big deal, because you got a lot of people coming at you. But here's the thing, they're coming at him now.
Right.
Like, it's actually like they've tried.
Right.
They've tried to take him out. And now I think it's his opportunity to sort of like fix things. And they know that. That's why they're terrified of this thing, because they know if he gets in, like, there's going to be a massive disruption. And that is a good thing for the country.
Right.
Like, real people.
I think also, they're trying to paint Trump as this, ridiculous dictator character. And I think they should be considering themselves fairly lucky that it is Trump and it's not someone who's actually way more extreme than Trump, because this is the kind of situation that does birth someone who is so extreme that they can destroy the country as well. And so, I don't believe that Trump is that guy. I think, in fact, my criticism of Trump is that he's not extreme enough, which is probably a good reason why I'm not president. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, dude, I would do a lot more shit than he's doing. But
the other thing that's true, Andy, is I want people to understand, it won't end with Trump.
No.
Like, people think this is unique to him.
Yeah.
Whoever, look what they were doing to JD Vance.
Yeah.
Listen, JD and I are friends. We came in together. Everybody's, a lot of people are familiar with his story. He grew up with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a normal guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a normal dude. In this whole, like, he's a weirdo is like, actually is a very,
it's insulting to America.
It's a dystopian way to kind of turn the table on a guy that's normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're trying to do. And so it's him, it could be me, it could be anybody who's in those positions. Like, they know the playbook now, right? And so it's not going to be just with Trump. This lawfare thing is real. They've utilized that. They've weaponized the Justice Department, and you really need somebody in there, I think, who's going to change that dynamic.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
I agree.
It's,
I agree.
I thought they liked weird stuff, like the left.
that's the irony of the whole thing.
They don't think that's weird.
Yeah.
I actually think the fact that they call JD Vance weird is a real insult to the salt of the earth Americans that exist in this country. These people are so out of touch, bro. They don't know what a working class family looks like. They don't know what it's like for, someone to grow up in a trailer park or to be split into different families their whole life. They don't understand that shit, bro. These people are completely out of touch. And when I hear them call him weird, what I hear is, we think all of you guys are weird.
Yeah, well, you're the deplorables.
That's right. You guys are trailer trash America, and we're the elites. That's what I hear.
Yeah. Guys, jump in on this conversation. Let us know what you guys think about this down in the comments. That being said, let's get to our third and final headline. Headline number 3. Dr. Fauci Ouchie. Dr. Ouchie Fauci. Did you guys hear what happened to him?
You get the monkeypox?
No. West Nile virus.
Oh, West Nile.
I'm surprised it wasn't the monkeypox.
West Nile, though. I think there needs to be a change in the name.
What would you call it?
I don't know. The WN virus. I think that's offensive to people who live in West Nile region.
I agree.
Yeah, you probably made
Let's
this
start a
shit
movement right now.
Yes.
So Dr. Anthony Fauci hospitalized for 6 days with West Nile virus. So former coronavirus czar Anthony Fauci was hospitalized for 6 days after contracting the West Nile virus A spokesperson confirmed. Fauci, the ex-director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, is recovering at home after returning from the hospital and is expected to be okay, the spokesperson told CNN on Saturday. While most people, 80%, who are infected with the West Nile virus do not experience symptoms, the CDC said that approximately 20% suffer from an array of symptoms like fever, head and body aches, vomiting, diarrhea, and rashes. Around 1 in 150 people with the virus develop more serious symptoms that impact the central nervous system and experience illnesses like encephalitis. What is that?
Encephalitis.
Yeah,
Encephalitis.
Okay.
Reminds me of that line in Office Space. She was like, not gonna work here anymore.
Fuck, man, it got me. Around 1 in 150 people with the virus develop more serious symptoms that impact the central nervous system and experience illnesses like encephalitis or meningitis. About 10% of people who develop those severe illnesses die, according to the CDC. Now, Fauci's 83, is at a higher risk to get worse symptoms due to his age. Quote, there is no specific treatment for West Nile, the health agency said, but listed rest, fluids, and pain medications as methods to relieve symptoms. The virus is most commonly spread through mosquito bites, though it is not clear how Fauci contracted it. According to the Department of Health and Human Services, over 2,200 cases are reported in the U.S. each year. And apparently there has been a larger uptick in the area around New York City. Now, it's very interesting that this comes
Probably
out.
some of those mosquitoes they're letting loose with Bill Gates mosquitoes.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely the Gates mosquitoes, for sure.
I'm surprised he don't have monkeypox, though, with all that ass to mouth he does. Just saying. Sorry, Eric.
Well, I mean, it got me thinking, man, because, Fauci hasn't really been in the news lately, and you really haven't heard much on COVID. But I thought this was interesting, that this timing of this article and then these next two articles I'm about to show you guys, it's very, very interesting. Apparently, COVID cases, they are on the rise, just in time for more boosters to come out.
Oh, I can't wait.
I cannot wait. And not only that, this was really interesting because just a day before this headline comes out. Biden administration will restart free at-home COVID-19 test program.
Oh, sweet. We forgot about them just manufacturing the data numbers with
the PCR rates?
With upcycled PCR tests.
Bro.
Must have forgot.
They're bringing this back. And, they say free, but we are paying for it. Everybody's paying for it. The Biden administration next month. Interesting timing. What? So just okay. Got it.
Free stuff. Huh.
Free stuff.
I wonder if they're doing the fries and the burgers.
Oh, man.
Because I would definitely get a booster for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Biden administration next month will relaunch a program for every American to order free COVID-19 tests through the mail. They can get that along with their ballot for the election. Administration officials said during a briefing Friday that households will be able to order 4 free tests through the covidtest.gov website once it launches again in late September. The test will be mailed directly to people's homes. Quote, these tests will help families and their loved ones stay safe this fall and winter season.
And avoid the winter of death and destruction.
Yeah. Because,
we're still waiting for that.
What was it? A plague of the unvaccinated? Mm-hmm. Wasn't that what he called it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not even here right now. I died 3 winters ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, it's talking about stuff getting memory hold. They were boarding up basketball hoops.
Bro, they were filling skate parks with sand.
Yeah. You couldn't, they were, in Australia.
They were arresting dudes on the beach.
Walking outside without a mask on.
Bro, that dude, Walls, was shooting people. They had do you know this?
Yeah, and he had a tip line. Remember, you could.
Yeah, but the fucking police were going up and down the street shooting people with paintballs that were in their own yards.
Oh, my God.
Get in your house.
That's insane.
It is totally insane.
It's insane. And so, we talk a lot about these buttons that they can press, right? There's war, there's, cyber attacks, which I think they've ran multiple tests on in the last few months. But we talk about these, big red buttons that they could be pressing. I don't know if this is one that they're pushing just to see what the reaction and what's the response going to be from people, if people are buying it. I don't know. But they definitely seem to be on track just in time for the elections. Guys, what do you guys got out on this, man? I fucking hate this guy.
Yeah, light your Fauci candle, I guess.
You deposed
right?
this guy too.
Light your Fauci candle.
Yeah, I did. We took his deposition. And again, I don't wish, any ill health effects, including WN virus, which I think is what we should call it now. But this guy in a deposition that lasted all day was as squirrely as you can get. I think it's only the second time he ever has deposition taken. The one big takeaway, other than him saying I don't recall like 178 times or something, was, I may have told you this story before. The court reporter
Sneezed or something?
Sneezed.
Yeah.
And he told her to put a mask on. This is in November of 2022. Like, this wasn't like March of 2020, which, by the way, we showed him an email. We asked him, do you think masks are effective? He's like, oh, yeah. Well, here's an email that you sent to a friend of yours in April of 2020 when she said, hey, I'm getting on a plane. Do you think I should wear a mask? He's like, no, they're not effective at all. Like, this guy is the biggest charlatan, phony.
Rat.
He lied to people. He was getting on TV and he just loved the attention. I think he loved, again, and you look at like guys who were in these county offices, even here or whatever, like they loved being in front of, the camera, telling people what they could do or they couldn't do.
Yeah.
And there's nothing new about that, particularly in the history of the world. But I don't think we've seen anything, not in our lifetimes, anything like that here.
I mean, looking back, dude, the mask thing was an exercise in compliance. That was a. We want everybody to see that everybody's with it. And all of the people that disagree with it had to do it, so it made it appear like it was a real thing. If they hadn't have put that pressure on the masking thing like that, you would have seen that 2 out of every 10 people were wearing a mask, because everybody who was wearing one was like, this is bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it was to create a perception that everybody believed that this was going on. And then we just saw them build it from there on. The next thing, COVID ended, the next day was Ukrainian flags everywhere. Yeah. The Ukraine thing. The next thing is Palestine, Israel.
The next thing. And people, like, the truth is, this guy was telling people, don't see your family for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Bro. There's people that still do that.
Right. Like, they were, like, it's insane. And we're talking about how the media, like, it's a dissidence versus establishment. We talked about the propping up Harris. Remember what all the so-called fact checkers and verified teams were doing? Like, if you said masks weren't effective, because they weren't, and there was no peer-reviewed study that said they were, that is what they chose to cover, to try to humiliate people who came out and said things. I mean, this is like, that's the kind of corruption when people talk about, like, once you see, you can't unsee.
Yeah.
And I think more people, DJ, to your point, are seeing this stuff now, and Fauci was like the head of the snake.
For sure.
Fucking rat, man. Fucking rat. Guys, jumping on this conversation. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments.
They tried to give me a PCR test when I was in the hospital both times this last month.
Just recently, really?
Yeah, I was, for those of you that don't know, I had a couple medical issues I had a
monkeypox.
No, I didn't have the monkeypox. I'm trying hard to get it, but it just hasn't happened yet. No, I had a little intestinal obstruction from some food that I ate, but either way, they tried to give me the PCR test. I wouldn't let them do it.
No.
Yeah. Do you remember they had, people forget about this now too, every night they would show COVID numbers or something.
Yeah, case numbers.
And they would talk about children in the ER with COVID. What they didn't tell you was there were kids, and we had neighbors, like, who had a broken arm, and they went to the ER for that, and then they required a test, and they tested positive. They weren't sick from it.
No.
But they wouldn't let them leave, by the way, until they tested negative, which is a little Orwellian. But anyway, they would put that in the numbers of kids in the ER with COVID. And then you would think, there's this pandemic of kids getting COVID, which was totally bullshit.
Well, why would they do that? There was an incentive to do that.
They were getting
paid. The hospitals got paid more.
With every positive case, that hospital stood to making $15,000, $20,000 off of that. And
we had Russell Saraski on talking about the PCR tests. You know that the fucking guy who invented the PCR test magically died right before COVID started?
No, I didn't.
And then on top of it, the PCR test is adjustable. So if you turn the cycle rate up outside of the range where it's actually effective, it'll detect anything. So anything, when you turn that up, like any microscopic trace of anything, which we all have in our bodies at all times, will test positive. They were testing people who were killed in automobile accidents.
Right.
post-mortem and then counting it as a positive test.
And a death.
And then they were saying they died of COVID.
Yes.
Because there was 30,000.
People forget that, dude.
Yeah, man.
Like, people have completely forgotten the amount of bullshit that happened during that time. Like, bro, it was crimes against humanity, dude.
Bro, there was I remember the story of, I believe it was in Detroit, somewhere in Michigan. There was a medical examiner who whistleblew on this. She said that, she had two bodies that came in. They were together, right? Same issue. They came in. She read the death report from the hospital. Said these people died of COVID, right? She unzips the body bag. And in her report, she said it is very clear that these people died from GSWs, which are gunshot wounds. Mm-hmm. And they listed those people as COVID deaths.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they wouldn't, if you tried to push, because we did a little bit, with COVID or for COVID, like died with COVID or for COVID.
There's a difference.
With COVID or from COVID.
Or from COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, or from COVID. Boy, they didn't want to get into that conversation because that had to do with money.
Yep. That's right, man.
It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous.
My daughter had an asthma attack on Saturday, so I had to take her to urgent care, and the first thing they tried to give her was a COVID test.
PCR
well, brother,
test.
I have AFib, so I usually end up in the hospital once or twice a year with AFib. And I haven't been asked to take COVID tests until this last time.
Mm-hmm.
Like that for a couple of years now, they haven't been doing it. Now all of a sudden they're doing it again.
So when they were like, again, I don't want to relive all this, but it's important, like for historical purposes, the quarantine policy. Remember, like if you were in a classroom, first of all, kids, like you were more likely to die of a lightning strike than you were of COVID, right? So like you were twice as likely to die of a dog attack. But like those were the real numbers. But the truth is, these kids were being quarantined for 2 weeks out of school. Once they let them back into school, if someone in their classroom tested positive, like they didn't even need to test positive themselves. This stuff was like totally off the rails. And this is the United States of America.
Right.
We're supposed to be trusting the science.
Trust the science.
Trust the science.
Not that science, though.
Yeah. Not your science.
Not that
guy.
Not that male-female science.
Yeah, not that science.
No, Fauci.
Yeah. That's not
he
science.
is the science, right? Remember?
Yeah.
These fucking assholes, man. Guys, jump in on this conversation. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments. With that being said, let's get to our final segment of the show. We have thumbs up or dumb as fuck. That's where we bring a headline in. We talk about it. It gets one of those two options. So with the science theme, let's stay on top of that. Our thumbs up or dumb as fuck headline reads, company will freeze your dead body until it's reanimated years later, but it comes with a hefty price. Let's see what we think about this, guys. Freeze dry. Nope. Yep.
Dumb as fuck. Is that?
Yeah. Bro,
So that's
Ted
what-
Williams did this.
I think Walt Disney too.
Yeah.
Disney did this. Well, that was cryo. I think this is a little. They changed the game on this one a little bit.
All right.
So let's dive into this New York Post article reading. Chill out. A high. I love the dad jokes they put in there. They're great.
I'm not.
Chill out. Yeah.
Oh. So of course I laugh at it.
A high-tech startup is
You
giving.
fucking wrote that.
A high-tech startup is giving people the option to cryogenically freeze their corpses in hopes that they may be revived one day in the distant future. Tomorrow Bio, a Berlin-based company, is charging a pretty penny, $222,000, $222,603 to be exact, plus a $55 monthly membership fee.
No way. The monthly fees got me. There's no way.
Yeah. Well, first, that's a very specific number. Like, why is it that, like, it's
22,603.
Can we just
So
make
where's
it
the
flat?
$3? Yeah. Why
That's
is
what
it?
I'm just make it flat. But this, to
That
put
bad.
bodies and body parts on ice. Brains alone cost $83,473. Quote, personally, I believe that within my lifetime, I'm currently 40 years old, we may witness the safe cryopreservation and reanimation of complex organisms. Co-founder Fernando Azevedo Finero told the Daily Mail, quote, for some, the primary motivation is the fear of dying. Cryopreservation offers them hope and a sense of security, providing a potential path to extend their lives. So far, the company claims that 6 people and 5 pets have gotten the big chill, and there are 650 people on the waiting list with an average age of 36. Quote, none of them are expecting to die anytime soon, he told the Daily Mail. How does it work? Tomorrow Bio offers what they called field cryoprotection, in which they begin the cryopreservation process immediately after a patient is declared legally dead, using our retrofitted ambulances, which function as mobile surgery rooms. The company claims to be the only one worldwide to do so. Pinero added that a corpse's bodily fluids are replaced by, quote, essentially medically...
Wait, Panera's doing this? What?
Yeah.
What? I just all I wanted was a sandwich, man.
But they replace your body fluids by, quote, essentially medical grade antifreeze to keep from irreversible cold damage. The temperatures are dropped to around minus 320 degrees Fahrenheit over a little more than a week before the body is stored in a long steel container containing liquid nitrogen for long-term storage. If a person is successfully revived after the Captain American procedure and their investment hasn't been fully used in treatment, they get the remaining money back. Tomorrow Bio cites a successful example of similar treatments to preserve a rabbit's kidney. Here is this is a picture inside of the ambulance that they have. It's especially...
It looks like they got a person in there.
It looks like they got something in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about this.
I already gave my answer, man. It didn't change after you
Yeah,
read
it's
all
dumb.
the details.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
The antifreeze from Panera, man. That sounds a little unsafe.
I'm okay on this.
You're gonna do it?
No, I'm not. I don't think I'm with this.
Oh.
Dude, I think we legitimately live in a time where I think people our age, Eric and I think we will see people's life expectancy drastically extended in our lifetime. I think people will, by the time we're older, we will see people living to 120, 130 years old. I actually am not convinced that that's not the normal lifespan of a human being, and that we are potentially squashed into a lifespan that makes more sense for the medical industry. That's my personal opinion, but I know that's crazy. But I mean, the stuff they give us is just as damaging as it is helpful. And I was talking to Zoltan from Five Finger, who's a brilliant dude, and he was like on that thing as well. He's like, bro, all we got to do is just keep alive, and they'll keep us alive. But if you look at like people who take care of themselves, who are 70 years old today versus like when we were kids, like it's a pretty big difference, man.
I saw something. So I'm 49. I saw something like Wilford Brimley was my age when he made Cocoon.
That's what I'm saying, dude. So like a lot of these people who, like when we were kids, 45 years old was like you had gray hair, you were like an old man. And now there's people, that are in their 60s, like your buddy who used to be a cop who was out there training, he's 60 years old.
Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin.
Kevin Miner, yeah.
60 years old. Bro, he's jacked. I'm like, dude,
Well,
he what? Well, yeah, I'm black don't crack, but like I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just saying, man, that dude's a specimen for 60 years old.
good.
That's unbelievable. He's in better shape than almost anybody I know. So like it's going to be interesting where this takes us, but like let's go back to the picture of these guys. You believe those guys? Those motherfuckers playing Call of Duty, bro.
Kind of looks like, by the way, it kind of looks like a burger place. Like,
Yeah, that's right.
It does.
I don't
They
think
don't even
that's-
have like doctor and shit written on their jackets.
No, these.
Oh, those are paid actors.
Yeah, I'm not with it, man. You got to. If you're going to sell me, you better look a little smarter.
I'll say this too, and we got to be careful, because I do believe Walt Disney is
Cryopreserved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. But here's the
The
problem.
native of Missouri, by the way.
Is he
From
really?
Missouri. Yeah.
Well, here's the issue with that. Because he was old he grew up in a different time in America, right? You got to be careful waking him back up.
Oh yeah, that'd be a little shock. Well, if he's
Dude, no shit.
I'm
if
just
he
saying,
saw some of these Disney movies now, he might be freaking out.
Bro.
Yeah.
Well, it is true.
What's all these boys doing in my movies?
hold
You know what
on.
I'm saying?
It is true that Walt Disney was rumored to be a
little
racist,
racist.
and an anti-Semite.
A little
You can
racist.
see him waking up and be like, what the fuck?
Just gotta be careful.
Oh,
That's all
man.
I'm saying. Gotta be careful.
Dude, imagine waking up.
Especially if this guy's waking him up.
Oh,
It might be a
man.
problem. I'm just saying.
Just imagine that. No thanks. Like by the time I'm done, bro. I've had
Yeah,
enough.
it's like this.
Yeah.
I got a shot clock, and I don't know
Yeah.
what exactly it is, but
I'm good.
hopefully the veil between this world and the next, that we're all there doing a podcast in heaven someday.
Yeah, I'm a believer, so it's not like I'm not afraid of that.
Right.
I'm not afraid of that.
Yeah.
So
cool,
I wouldn't want to stay here, man. Like I'm actually kind of looking forward to that other time. You know.
All right. Well,
don't. I didn't kill myself though. Just so you guys know, it wasn't me. Start looking at 3-letter places.
All right, man. Well, sweet. Well, guys, Andy, Senator Schmitt.
It was fun, man.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
You so much, brother. It's great to see you, man.
Love you guys. Love your audience, man. And it's I'll stop by again, but thanks for having me.
All right, brother. All right, guys. Don't forget, don't be a hoe.
Share the show.